you doing, everyone? My name is Ryan and this is Ade, and welcome back to another edition of Box Talk. Today, we're talking about the heavyweights again. And like we keep saying, the heavyweight division seems like it's coming back. We've got two sides of the coin this time. We've got Cuba and Philly Pride. Mike Perez versus Bryant Jennings. So this one of those type of matches where you say, does one of them get a title shot? Ade?
Hell no. No. We're not giving out title shots like candy. No way. Yes, they're unbeaten, but you look at their records and it's still a bit, again, who have they fought market. America are desperate for a heavyweight contender. Desperate. So you get people like Bryant Jennings and you get people like Deontay Wilder that have these unbelievable O records, decent knockout record as well. Obviously, Bryant Jennings hasn't got nowhere kind of knockout record like Deontay Wilder, but it's still very decent. The thing for me is with Bryant Jennings, I look at him and he's got all the attributes. He's 6'2", he's got a good size to him. He's not got a good amateur record. He's not even had that many amateur fights. We're talking, what, 20? So like 19, 20 amateur fights. He comes from an American football background. He comes from a basketball background. What I'm trying to get at here is, are they real? Is he a real boxer? I'm not convinced he is. He's an athlete. An athlete doesn't make you a real boxer for me. And I think that has been shown with the likes of Seth Mitchell. Done exactly, pretty much what Bryant Jennings is doing. Exactly the same thing. And then he fought a real boxer in Arizona and we kind of saw what happened.
I like Bryant Jennings. I think Bryant Jennings is one of the best prospects that America has right now. I think he's much better on paper than Deontay Wilder. Take out the KO record of people you've never ever heard of. The difference is I've seen with Bryant Jennings is that he's come from that old school Philly gym. That background, that hard grafting, that history. Everyone knows Philly gyms are the toughest gyms you're going to get at the training. And that upbringing, that coming up, when he had his coming out show, when he had I think the opening of the Barclays Center, and he fought another Philly prospect, they basically stole the show in that fight, whereas it was a solid, good prospect match. Now he's gone from that prospect to borderline contender of not beating killers, but beating decent names you're supposed to have on the up-and-coming stature. And now he's fighting a guy who is, I would say, is most of a legit top 10 in Mike Perez. When I say legit, I'm talking about someone that's experienced, been in there with a couple of decent names, had that unfortunate incident with Sabanov and the injury, but, you know, it's a legit fighter. This is a better fighter than Deontay Wilder's ever faced.
I disagree. I have to disagree. To me, Perez is not a legit top 10. I'm not having that as legit top 10. He's got a good amateur background. He's a world junior champion. Let's not forget, it was a light heavyweight. We've watched him at Prize Fighter.
Yeah, very small.
He's 5'8", 5'9", 5'10". He's almost in a Tyson kind of build. But the thing, they've got him as like 6 foot or something. Yeah. He's not. The thing about him compared to a Tyson, and he was coming up with that kind of hype. And look, because he's Cuban and they build him tough over there. The difference between him and Tyson for me is Tyson had that kind of almost he was a natural muscular kind of. Perez is
kind of soft.
He's kind of soft. It's a bit fleshy. If we can get in shape and get rid of that fleshy, then we've got a good fight. But I think one of the problem for Perez is that the heavyweight division now are full of giants. Honestly, they're full of guys that are 6'5" and above, and I feel like maybe he's just too small for the heavyweight division.
I agree with you. That will be his undoing overall. But the point you mentioned about him being a little fleshy, one, he doesn't have the power either. They say he's a puncher, but I don't really think he is a puncher.
No.
But
not a knockout one.
When he was training under Glenn McCrory over here, he was notoriously bad with his training. Yeah. Where Glenn McCrory said he's got all the potential, all the skill, but he doesn't have the discipline, and he left the good life too much. I know he still lives in Ireland now, so with his wife, he's got kids over there now, but he's not the type of guy that you would say, well, according to Glenn McCrory, is, say, a gym rat that keep himself in shape. Whereas Bryant Jennings seems to be the guy totally opposite. I mean, he's in tremendous shape. If you look at, like, I know we talk about a picture of a heavyweight, Bryant Jennings looks like a heavyweight.
Yeah, Bryant Jennings is that athlete. Yeah. He's come from a really good athletic background, so regardless, he's always going to be in shape. The thing that scares me about Perez is that, like you say, he's got all the talent. He's got a really good amateur background. There's something that mirrors him to Solis for me, where they're guys with all the technique, but they're guys that don't want to be in the gym. Yeah. You know, they're guys that will be in the gym because it's a payday, but you can see they're not really gym guys. And that's why I feel like Bryant Jennings has got a really good chance in this fight. Look, it's two unbeaten guys, which we want. We done a heavyweight show about a month ago. Guys, watch that on our YouTube channel, and we mentioned these two. Yeah. a lot of heavyweights are getting knocked off now. And I feel like one of these guys, I'm not trying to say they'll get knocked off, but one of these guys will definitely rise, I think, legitimately to be in the top 10. I don't think they are now, but I think one of them will definitely rise into that top 10 echelon.
The reason why I think they're both around the top 10 mark now, because like I said, a lot of the guys that have been holding the top 10 spot have been falling off. The likes of Adamek, the likes of Vitali is now retired. So there's now opening spots, whereas young unbeaten contenders are making shots in that division. Whereas if you look at the division as a whole, the people that are dominating it have not fought their peers yet, except for the likes of Ariola, who's been around the longest most probably and has fought his peers. The rest are still all in that, waiting to get their shot.
But you know what it is? The rest, for me, are finally starting to almost mix it with each other.
Yeah.
Not bigly, but it's finally starting to mix it. And I feel like these two, in terms of Perez and Jennings, you look at their records, there isn't a name that stands out yet. Well, I feel the other guys in the top 10, or the guys that I'd like to say are in the top 10, i.e. Chisora, Fury, I'll put Deontay Wilder in there now. They've all got just a name on the record. And I still feel like Jennings and Perez don't have a name that stands out when you look at their record. That's why I don't have them in the top 10 yet.
Yeah. You know, when I look at this fight, the one thing I do feel concerned about is Mike Perez, in a sense, whereas with the injury to with Asamilov not too long ago, when he's had his fight after, he had the draw.
Yeah, he had that against
that draw.
Canadian.
Yeah. And it was one of those so-so performances, and I started thinking about history of fighters who cause injuries.
Yeah.
When you look at someone like
Chris Eubank
Chris Eubank, he was a good example where after the Michael Watson, he never really went for the kill again.
Yeah.
And in a sense, that kind of harmed his record.
Yeah.
Fights he could have won easier, and a couple of split decisions he had late in his career, he didn't get, because he got, but he could have won those fights, but he held back a little. Yeah. You got guys like Kovalev, who unfortunately killed the guy after they've had a fight, and he blocked it to the back of his mind, and it don't mean nothing to him. He still goes out and fights full force. Is Perez now in that zone where he's no longer going to go and put the type of performance on because he's scared of injuries, or can he actually block it out and move forward in this fight? And I think that will be the difference in this fight of if he wins or loses.
Yeah, look, it's a mindset thing, and I don't know if Perez has got that I want to be a boxer, I want to be in the ring mindset. Like I said, we've watched him a few times. I've watched a few of his fights. I don't know if this is a kid that really, really wants it. And I mean really wants it by the fact that right now there's a door open in that heavyweight division. Yeah, Vladimir is saying he's got 10 fights left. He hasn't. He's probably got 4 or 5 really. Yeah. Vitali's gone. There is no one literally claiming and jumping saying I want that number 1 position, or no one that literally deserves it yet. And I feel like Perez and Jennings have a chance to. Jennings definitely wants it. You're right. He's in a Philly gym and they breed him hard in Philly. Perez has almost taken it easy a bit. He's been in Ireland. He's been in America. He's been in I don't know what he's doing. It makes a good fight. Like I said, it's 2 unbeaten fighters. It makes a great fight. Who wins?
I'm going with Bryant Jennings. I think Bryant Jennings wants it more. I'm not too sure about Perez's mindset, but I do think Perez can make it very difficult. He does, when he's in shape, he does throw high volume. Yeah. He does work the body, he does work the head, and technically he is not bad either. And I mean, he doesn't set his shots up. But again, he's a smaller guy, and I think ultimately that's going to be his undoing. Even if he does good in this fight, ultimately it's going to be his undoing going forward. I think for the sport, Jennings is better, but I also think Jennings is going to be that guy that takes it a little bit further, and I do see Jennings competing with the top 3 to 5 in the world within the next year.
Yeah, look, I agree with Ryan on this one. I feel like a year or 2 years ago, and you asked me about this matchup, I would have said Perez, because I really thought Perez has got all the attributes to make a good heavyweight. But maybe he is just too small. He's not small physically, he probably walks around 230, 240, he's a big guy. But that's the problem. When you're 5'9", 5'10", and walking around 230, 240, and it's fleshy and it's not muscle,
it's not really
to me it shows that you're not really putting it in the training. You're not putting it in the gym. And I think Bryant Jennings is the complete opposite to that. Picture of a heavyweight, he looks exactly like that. He's got a Ken Norton look about him. He's got everything to go. He's in a Philly gym, tough sparring. But what happens? Look, if Bryant Jennings does win this fight, I do expect him to go on. The top 5 is not easy. I mean, we all talk about him cracking that top 3, top 5. That top 3, top 5, Povetkin, Pulev, Chisora, Fury, Deontay Wilder, Ariola, Mitchell, Stavern. There's a lot of guys in there, so we're going to get some good matchups next year. And it looks like Jennings is going to go on to be part of the good matchups. But look, if Perez does lose, he's not out of it. There's still further good matchups there. In the heavyweight division, most people are going to have a loss soon. Look at Chisora, for example. We're talking 4 losses. He's come back and he's now still going well. You know what I mean? So look, guys, what do you think? Who wins this fight? We've gone for Jennings. It's a good heavyweight matchup. 2 unbeaten fighters, 2 young unbeaten fighters, which is what we want. Who wins this matchup? Jennings? Perez? Leave your comments below. Email us at
BoxTalk@hotmail.co.uk.
And guys, don't forget, for all your latest boxing news and reviews, go to ringnews24.com. And thanks for tuning in for another edition of Box Talk.